It's 5 o'clock.
There we go.
There it is. That's when you know that we're live because Jessica's computer is going to tell us.
Jessica's computer talks to her. She don't know about time, so it tell her every time. It's 5
You're not going to
o'clock.
see him until tomorrow. Like, what are you going to eat tonight? Like,
I have no idea. I'm gonna starve because he was like, I'm out of commission. I was like, oh, okay.
So he straight up was just like, I just want to tell you I love you, and this has been real, but Cyberpunk is out now, and you
told
know.
me at 8 o'clock this morning, and then he did a warning call at 2 p.m. today. Yeah.
Nice. So if you guys, you know the drill, go ahead and share it to your timeline.
Oh, that's right. Okay, go ahead and do that. I always have to go on JD's page to find it because
I got it up.
You do? You have it on
Yeah,
your
you know, I'm typically last, but that wasn't the case this time.
I just shared it.
Okay, Dre, let me see where your page
is. Very good, very good. Oh man. How's that? Like, so let me ask all of you, Jess maybe not so much, but the rest of you are living in spaces where it's probably really cold. How are you guys doing?
That's great. You just turn on the heat. And it's all good.
I mean, like you calling me on a day where it's like in the high 40s. Now you hit me up on a day where it's like 10, like my mood will change. But like it's in the 40s right now.
Well, here in Florida, we're also getting those 40s, and our mood has changed. It's not fun.
Well, that's because y'all only know one temperature, and that's hell. So like if it's not hot as hell, y'all aren't happy.
Hey Megan, how you doing? Happy to see you joining.
Megan.
Oh, I just got your text, David. Yeah, it's just you're just getting the just.
I told you were more than enough. I was just curious. I think it's hilarious that he's like, yeah, I would like to join you, but no, because you know. I gotta play Cyberpunk. We'll give a couple more minutes and then we'll go ahead and get started. Actually, as we are 50 degrees in Minnesota today, it's, you know, our temperature has been extraordinarily close, and that should never be the case. I think, Will, you and I were talking about that. I think there was only like a 15 or so degree difference between Minnesota and Florida, and that's when you know that's a problem.
Right.
Hey, Google.
Is it a problem? Because I thought climate change wasn't real. I thought global warming was like a fake thing.
Oh, Lordy, here we
Keep
go.
your science to yourself. It's not real over here.
You ain't no good.
Oh, so this is the We Are Not OK show. And tonight we will be talking about the twerk tirade from the Dallas restaurant that went viral. There was another shooting from a deputy in Columbus, Ohio, that took the life of a Black man. And Letitia Wright has decided to trigger a conversation around the COVID-19 vaccine with a controversial post, which has been taken down. And by the way, if you didn't get a chance to watch it, I can't find it anywhere. Like YouTube took it down.
Yeah.
It's like it's gone. So those would be the topics for tonight. Tonight on the panel, I'm really excited because we have not only our regulars, but we have somebody back who had to take a little bit of hiatus, but she's back in full effect. That is Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre, how you doing?
Doing all right. Coming from Jacksonville, North Carolina, as always. It was like 30 degrees today. Didn't even feel it. I was inside most of the day, so it doesn't even bother me.
Dr. J telling lies. She mad because she ain't playing Cyberpunk right now.
I am. I would like to be playing midnight because I wasn't privy to this 4 p.m. release. But wow.
I mean, you typically get a little extra up front, and they give you a little prize at the end, and that's what
I didn't get that option when I went to go pre-order it, so I'm a little mad. That's okay. I'm just gonna stay until midnight. I don't have to go to work tomorrow. Maybe.
I mean, I'm not gonna ask you where you pre-ordered it from on air, but like I'll send you a message. But if it wasn't at a certain place, I'm just gonna talk bad about you.
And JD, since you were hijacking this as a Cyberpunk conversation, how are you doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Where are you hailing from, as usual?
I'm gonna say broadly, Columbus, Ohio.
Broadly, Columbus,
Ohio, possibly in a basement somewhere. Who knows? And then my main man, Will. How you doing, brother?
Doing pretty good. Coming from the Bat Cave. Just kidding. Minneapolis. Staying warm. It's a little bit chilly here, but I'm doubling it up on clothes. I got a shirt and a shirt, so I'm good now.
Yeah, me and Will had this conversation earlier. I said, man, I'm jealous because like you and JD, you get to have these basements. And his response was absolutely perfect. I would trade this damn basement any time I would take for that consistent warm weather that you get in Florida. I was like, okay, touche.
For real.
Yeah, that I will give to you because we're not allowed to have basements, but we also don't get ridiculous amounts of snow. Hello, Jess. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic. And of course, where are you hailing to us from?
64-degree weather in Southern California.
Oh, hey.
Can I throw up a bird on the show? Is that possible?
I almost did, Will. I had to do it with my face. I almost did.
My filter kicked in. Thank God it's there.
I mean, it dropped to like.
Stop. Don't. Just be nice.
It was.
Check your phone, Jess.
Hey, Becky. Hey, Steven. How you guys doing? Thank you for joining us again tonight. So let's go ahead and let's get into this conversation. The first conversation we want to talk about. So this restaurant in Dallas is called True Kitchen and Cocktails. So the Dallas owner, he's getting both praise and he's getting blowback for his reaction to a group of
Blown out? What'd you say?
Huh?
He's kidding.
He's getting praise and blowback for his reaction to a group of customers twerking in a restaurant. This is a PG-13 show, Jeff. I don't know
one. My bad. Whoa.
Get his back blown out. Yep, that's exactly what we're talking about tonight.
Yes. No, but that's what they were trying to do while twerking. They were trying to blow that. Never mind. So basically, I do want to read a part of what he said. So I invested a lot of money into buying this building and developing this concept so Black people can have somewhere nice to go. And so all this twerking and shit, take it to Prime, take it to Pink. Don't bring it here because we're a restaurant. Beyond that, 75% of my customers are ladies, and I want men to show respect for themselves and how they carry themselves around here. So how can I tell the men to respect themselves and you guys are twerking on glass? If you want to do it, get the fuck out of my restaurant because I don't need your money. So do you feel like this man was in the right with how he approached these customers that was at his restaurant? And I'm going to start with the nice weather out in California, Just. So do you feel like this man was accurate in the way he addressed these folks, these women?
Okay, so let's give context. So one, he talked to the women prior to the tape recording. Like he went over to the table, told them to calm down, all that good stuff, right? He had to go there the second time to tell them, look, you didn't listen to me the first time. Now I'm going to embarrass you. I don't think he was in the wrong. I don't think he was in the wrong at all. But depending on, I think the DJ's name was Daquan, something real, just you feel twerk music coming from a DJ. Like unless you were playing Robert Glasper or Thundercat or Derek Hodges, something along those, like Christian Scott, you wouldn't get a twerking scene. But if you are playing music that's going to, I can't stop twerking to come out of 75% of the women that you serve, what do you expect? But they should have listened the first time. With us aspiring to own restaurants and stuff like that, like we have to be mindful of what music we play because what audience do we want to attract and serve? So yeah, I don't think he's wrong.
I do want to say, and just for context, I believe the first song that he spoke to him with the issue was a song called Body by Meg Thee Stallion, which I just listened to before we went on for the first time. I was like, okay, I don't know these people. And see, look at Jeff. And then the next song that they were actually twerking to is by Little Ronnie.
You just went like way old school. Little Ronnie. It's Lil.
Lil Ronnie. I apologize. Lil Ronnie.
You don't understand all these little people out here.
And
let's
just say the song is called it's Circle or Throw That Ass in the Circle.
Hey.
So, Jess, you're saying that he was right, but also, he was playing twerk music, and it is confusing for a restaurant to be playing club music but to not want to be treated like a club. Will, what are your thoughts? Do you feel like this man was in the right?
I was unaware of like him talking to them the first time and then having to go back and talk to them again. So thanks for bringing in that context, Jess. And I think I agree with Jess based on that point. But you know what I mean? I also think that there is a little bit of like a bit of a contrast there, right? Because if you're a restaurant, but then you're also kind of playing club music, right? Like I just don't imagine going to a restaurant and having like a DJ, you know what I'm saying, spinning songs or something along those lines. So that seems a little weird, but whatever. I mean, I don't really care how you run your restaurant, you know what I'm saying? Like, but I do think if you do some of those things, then you might attract a kind of crowd of clientele that they kind of tend to gravitate to that stuff a little bit more. So there's that piece of it. But like, I feel like you said something though, as you were reading these things around like he wants men to respect themselves or something like that. But then like, so he doesn't want women in there twerking so that men can't respect themselves. Like, I'm sorry, can you read that a bit again for me, please?
Yeah, sure. Hold on, let me find.
You cussed, David, by the way.
Say that again.
You cussed, by the way.
I was reading what he put. That's why I curse. So Craig, I know Craig is mad because he says that we're not allowed to curse, but because we always tell him he can't curse. Let's see here. And so 75% of my customers are ladies, and I want men to show respect for themselves and how they carry themselves around here. So how can I tell the men to respect themselves and you guys are twerking on glass? So to your point, what he was saying is men can't respect themselves if women are twerking.
But I guess like, what does respect themselves mean? Like,
I feel like in some standpoint, he may have misspoke on that. And he was trying to say men to respect women potentially, but I'm not putting words in his mouth, but that's what it could have meant, right? But it's kind of hard to say. The words are the words, and I don't know if he's come out and defended that part of his words.
Because I think like that's one of the things that I kind of had a little bit of problem with in that verbiage, you know what I'm saying? Because like, I mean, I got to go out places. I'm going to go out into the world, right? You know what I'm saying? And so if I'm someplace and, you know what I mean, there's like, some lady out there who's like dressed super sexy and she's out there twerking it, right? Like, I got to control my own self and I got to control my own mind. You know what I'm saying? And so to me, that sounds a little bit kind of like some of that Christian, kind of like, don't cause a person to stumble. And ladies, if you're out there doing these things and you give a dude bad thoughts, then like the lady's bad. Like, I feel like that's like real off. Like I got a real problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can certainly ask these young ladies to not dance that way because that's not the type of behavior that he wants in his restaurant. And again, to Justice point, he had that conversation with them twice. And then the second time it escalated, right? Like, I still think that if you're going to be a restaurant owner, you got to find like more ways of kind of doing these things without trying to minimize that type of escalation. But if you're thinking that way, like, I got a real problem with that. Like, dudes are responsible for themselves. And if a dude goes off and makes an inappropriate decision, he's responsible for that decision.
Dr. Dre.
So I have a couple of issues with his delivery approach. So I understand it's a restaurant. You don't want people, twerking on furniture and, things of that nature. However, the atmosphere that he was trying to present was directly at conflict of what the atmosphere was at that moment. He had a DJ in his restaurant. It'd be different if you had, a live band or something of that nature. But when you have a DJ that's playing club music, I don't see how you can get upset with people for wanting to dance. I've been to a restaurant in Atlanta. They are playing like all of the 99 and 2000, club twerk music. And it was like a crab shop. So like that was fine. People were dancing and having a good time. But if you're trying to create this upscale type of restaurant that, you need to play classical music or Barbra Streisand in the background, because that's not the atmosphere he was trying to present. Like it didn't match. I took issue with a lot of things he said in his speech. You can get your point across without being disrespectful to people, saying, I don't need your money and blah, 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 blah. Actually, you do need their money because that's how a restaurant works. Like you're just saying dumb statements that you don't need customers' money. Like, it makes no sense. He shot himself in the foot. I just thought he was disrespectful with how he was talking to the women that were twerking. Yes, they should have, after he spoke to them the first time, they should have stopped. But his whole speech, I thought was unnecessary. I didn't like his approach where, like we mentioned, if you're twerking, you're not a good woman, and you're putting thoughts into men's head and they can't control themselves. Like, it's 2020. Let's please let men take responsibility for their own thoughts and actions. Like, we're past that. Like.
And Becky, I don't know if it's how many times should he have to tell them to stop. I think that there's a way that you can inform people to stop or ask people to leave a restaurant. I think he created a much larger scene and became a spectacle. Instead of ending the spectacle, he made himself as the spectacle in a way to diminish who they were and because he didn't like what they were doing. So for me, I don't know if it's how many times. I don't disagree, although I will say this: he did in his statement end by saying, "No song played is an excuse to stand on our furniture and do what this lady did. True, the restaurant will be for some and not for all, and that is okay." JD, do you think that? How do you think? I'll ask this differently. Do you think society would more like cancel him for doing this, or do you think that like he's going to get, good business because he did so?
I mean, who the heck knows, man? What people are going to decide to do in that standpoint, it's hard for me to say. I mean, I'm kind of in the spot where I'm like, one, like I think he could have handled the situation differently, and what I mean by differently is if it was just a certain group of people, like a small group of people that he talked to a couple of times that didn't abide by his wishes, I don't understand why you punish the whole restaurant with that tirade. Why do you make everyone in the restaurant uncomfortable for that? Like, if they couldn't abide by what he had in place, like, he could have had them removed, right? But at the end of the day, he has the right to say, I don't need y'all money. You can get the heck out. He can say that. But you know what? We also have rights as patrons. And you know what that right is? I can withhold my dollars and not spend them with you. So you can say crazy stuff if you want to, and I can make the choice not to patronize your business. And if your business goes under and you go under debt, you brought that shit on yourself. And like, it's just kind of that simplistic for me in this standpoint. Like, I won't go through what everyone else said. Like, I agree with you on that standpoint. I just think the situation could have been handled better. I don't understand why everyone in the restaurant had to get the talking to for just a couple of people. And if those people decide not to go back to that restaurant, good. If they decide they want to continue to deal with that, that's on them. Like, choose to spend your dollars how you want.
Really quick. So he talked to TMZ, and basically his restaurant's been a reservation only business since they opened. And they are all booked up for now for the foreseeable future. He's saying that business is actually doing significantly well. Let me ask you all this question. I'll go quickly around the horn. If this business was in the location where you lived and the food was good, would you go continue to support this restaurant? If it was in your area, Jess, would you support this restaurant? If the food was good, would you still continue to go and support after you've seen this?
Counter question, am I the group that got talked to, and do I go back?
No, you're not the group. You've just seen this take place.
Is it Michelin graded restaurant?
I
have concerns for it because
it's graded high with everybody, and you've enjoyed the food.
Okay, I'm gonna say no, and the reason why I'm gonna say no is just because of our current state. First and foremost, LA is shut down. Okay, so there's no indoor, outdoor eating or anything like that. RSVP, whatever. It's takeout or deliver. So that's one portion of it. So in LA, it's not gonna pop off anyway.
Okay, so and I'll rephrase this for Will. Mine is COVID. If this restaurant was in your area and the food is pretty good, would you continue to support this owner?
I'm just gonna be honest, to Dr. Dre's point, if they're playing Barbara Streisand, I gotta go. I haven't heard Barbara Streisand in years. Like, wow, that was hilarious. I don't know. Like, I'm not like too much of a like, let's go out to restaurants kind of person or whatever, but I probably would. You know what I'm saying? If the food was really good, you know what I'm saying? I'd probably go there. I might just sit back in the corner with a bag of popcorn, just kind of waiting for something else to go down too.
Well, and his message is that, hey, like he has a mentality as a restaurant owner of, hey, I don't really need your money, which I found extraordinarily interesting. And that's a strange statement to say, JD. I think, as you said, JD, this establishment is in your area. The food is good. Go there to eat or even take out. COVID be damned. Would you continue to give this owner your business?
No, it's other restaurants.
Okay. Quick. Dr. Dre?
So I'm conflicted because, we're supporting Black-owned businesses, and this is a Black-owned restaurant. I want to see my people succeed. However, I don't want to reward what I think is poor behavior, poor taste. But I'm always willing to give second chances. So, I'd go try the food. If there were no further incidences, I would go. But I just don't like how he handled the situation. And, not everyone's perfect. You're not going to have perfect reactions to everything. But his approach just reminded me of like when people make it and then they don't want that Black person in their restaurant. And that's why it makes me feel conflicted, because we need to make spaces for all types of, Black people. Black people are not a monolith. So I feel conflicted with my answer.
Okay. And this is not the only controversy that's coming from this restaurant. So they've now posted a dress code. I just want to put the dress code up so that we can see it. Jessica, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cover you like that. So please verify that the guests are not wearing the following: no ball caps or casual headgear, do-rags, hair cap, etc. No slides, all slides, especially fuzzy ones, no tank tops, no bodysuits, no explicit words or visuals, no jerseys, no sagging pants, no sweatsuits, sweatpants, yoga outfits, or gym clothing. What particular group or color of people do you feel like he's specifically talking to with this type of dress code?
Black people.
Okay.
Yeah. If I went to like, I don't know, like an Applebee's and I saw that up there, like I'd be pretty pissed.
And that is my question. If this was a white restaurant owner, would we be outraged?
Yes.
But it has happened with white owners on multiple occasions. I mean, they will target a certain way of how folks dress. But I mean, I've been to several great restaurants and I will go head to toe dressed because obviously this is what we're going to do. But then I will see, Caucasians, and they will come in with khaki shorts and a button up at Mastro's or Fleming's or Ruth Chris, or, name the severe restaurant, steakhouses or whatever. So it's like, we get singled out for so many different things. And now it's a Black owner that's singling out Black people or Black people's way of dressing, so that way he can attract uppity Black Negro.
Sadiddy.
That's the Sadiddy.
Yeah.
Black Negro.
Well, and that's where I get, I find it a little intriguing because why is it okay that a Black restaurant owner posts something of this nature that's targeted towards the Black or African American community, and there's not an outrage, versus if this was a white restaurant and it was like, and it said no do-rags. Now, mind you, I'm sure that there are white individuals that wear do-rags. I don't know if they call them do-rags. I've never heard a white person actually use the term do-rag. I'll just be honest with you. So, and maybe if you all have, you can check me or correct me. But I'm pretty confident that that's like a Black thing. It's not? Yes.
Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like that, I mean, that is very specifically targeted. And is that okay because the restaurant owner is Black, versus if this was a white restaurant owner, they would be absolutely, I believe, people losing their minds.
No, I think it's the same situation, and that's what I alluded to before, where he's trying to cater to a certain subset of people, and he's excluding people who want to support him. And it's funny, that dress code that he posted, that's like rappers, that's socialites, and like that's like millionaires wearing that stuff as well. So it doesn't really matter what the person is wearing. It's if they pay their bill. So I don't agree with him and his rules at all.
What part of Dallas, Texas is he in? Is he in Addison? Is he in Frisco? Like, what part of Dallas is he in?
That part I don't know. I know he's in the part of Dallas that your old school main man, Des Bryant, does consider to support because he is a big supporter of the restaurant. But I promise you this, if Des Bryant showed up in a do-rag, they're not going to kick him out.
Right. No, they're not. You know he's going to spend 10 bands or, however many dollars in that restaurant. It's hypocritical, and I don't like it.
And there's not a nicer way, but there is a more appropriate way if you want a certain dress code for your restaurant. First of all, let's start here. It's RSVP only. That will tell you something off top. So if that's the case, then connect the dress code to where it's after 5 attire or whatever, whatever formal way that you're going about it. So that way you're not excluding. Because basically when I read that, it's like you don't want no ratchetness inside of your restaurant. That's basically what I read.
Yeah. And to me, it feels like it's trying to feed a narrative.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you're gonna do that, don't play club music. And I'm sorry, but like you're sending all the mixed messages in the world. Like I want you, I want to create a certain type of atmosphere. But then I'm like, I listened to that song and I was just like, what was he like? What did he think was good? Like it's music that is tailored and catered towards making people dance. Like it's dance. It's what they would call booty shaking music. Like I don't understand what's the atmosphere he's trying to go for. And he says, if you want to do that, go there. Then why are you playing the music that they're playing there that you're telling people to go to? And why are you creating that atmosphere? So for me, I just don't get it. I do want to pause really quick. And because he heard us cursing, I think that's why he jumped in. I want to say, Craig, from this point on, there's no more cursing because it was only in that story.
And you made me throw my Rubik's Cube. I never get the curse. I'm a cursing this whole time.
I want to welcome Fast King Craig, the man who has continued to censor himself beautifully while participating on the show. And thank you very much for joining us. We do have to call it on that topic.
No, real fast. I got one thing to say about that topic.
Oh yeah,
just one. I know what he wants, and I understand what it is that he's trying to do. He has co-opted the white standard, the white America standard of what it means to be a classy individual. So he wants to attract that kind, but he only wants the seasoning face. He had the music playing as garnish for what it is that he wants, which is black fusion. He wants to exemplify. It's like black people, like you need to be wearing polo shirts better than the white people. We need to take the white person's culture and make it our own, and then supersede past that. But while ignoring the culture that we've invented for ourselves, you can still have an amazing and fun atmosphere that's inclusive for the black community. Thank you, Stephen. Next up. So I don't know. I just shout out to Becky for linking that. Thank you. Yeah, that's nonsense. That's nonsense. I'm gonna play some booty shaking music, but please, by all means, don't shake any booties. Not in this restaurant. No, sir. This is a classy restaurant. Go ahead and turn that up, Jacquez. Shut up.
I don't know if you can call your restaurant classy and play Little Ronnie throw that ass in a circle at the same time.
Nonsense.
It's Jess.
Yes, you just said the title and Jess started twerking, so we proved it.
It's like a siren call. She's like, "Oh, I can remember college." Shake that ass. I'm sorry, I cursed. I apologize.
Oh, see, you got your one in. There you go.
I got my one. Merry Christmas to Craig.
All right, so I appreciate you all for having a conversation on that. I do want to give an update. So we're going to talk about Casey Goodson. This brother was shot and killed by the deputy in Columbus, Ohio. And the update that was released today is that his death is ruled a homicide. And I just want to read this briefly. The death of Casey Goodman, a black man killed by Franklin County Sheriff's Department in Columbus, Ohio, has been ruled a homicide, according to a statement from Franklin County Coroner Dr. Ortiz. It goes into more that there is some difference of opinions of what happened based off of what his grandmother has stated versus what the officer has stated versus where the bullets actually unfortunately entered and killed this man. And it sounds like it's going to be more leaning towards what the family has stated that took place. I do want to say that there are no.
Here's my shocked face.
There are no body cam recordings of the shooting. The Franklin County Sheriff's Office aren't issued body-worn cameras. And just because, and I want to make sure I read this right, it says just because that this has been labeled a homicide by the coroner does not mean necessarily that there will be a criminal investigation. That does not mean that. That just means from the coroner's perspective, this was labeled as a homicide. So,
Par for the course. We are talking about the young man who was armed with a Subway sandwich, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. Just want to make sure.
Yes.
Dangerous weapon.
Very, very dangerous. So I do want to ask something that came from this out of a conversation that I had with someone else, because this man is licensed to carry. Ohio is open carry. And my question is carrying legally a more dangerous option for Black people? There's this kind of push that Black people should go get licensed so we can carry as well. Is that actually create safety for us, or is that a more dangerous space that we're putting ourselves in? And Will, I'm gonna lean on you with this question first.
Well, I think Megan even threw a question out there. Like, was he a U.S. Marshal?
No.
Got shot.
Part of a fugitive task force.
There you go.
Okay, so he was part of like law enforcement, then, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it should put us at more risk, but I do think it does. I mean, let's just go back to this like this dress code, right? Because if I can change my question, if I walked up to the restaurant, even if they are playing what's her name, you know what I'm saying? Like I saw that dress code, like I'd be like, nah, I'm out, right? Like I'm not for that, right? Like, and when we were talking about this beforehand and you put the dress code up, like I honestly thought that was about a different restaurant. I didn't know it was about this exact same restaurant. But what we see is that there is a narrative out there that like Black folks are just dangerous, Black men are dangerous. And so if we already have the risk of having to be in scenarios where whenever we interact with police, we have to be the ones to deploy, de-escalation measures to try to help this officer be able to get through or overcome their, racist threat or safety threat or whatever's going on in their psyche. You know what I'm saying? Like having an actual firearm on you is just going to make it even more dangerous. I mean, keep in mind right here, we're looking at like Philando Castile. There was no weapon or anything of that nature, right? Like he was just moving, I think. And then all of a sudden he's getting shot because of these different issues. It's like what is going on? And like, so there's already just this edge. And then when these things happen, it is too much work just to try to get any kind of real case, you know what I'm saying? Like, or to get somebody to take this investigation seriously. I don't know. Like I hate to say it, but I do think it just makes it more dangerous for us.
Well,
JD,
I mean,
go ahead.
So when we say it makes it more dangerous, I mean, I don't think there's a more dangerous. It's dangerous, period. Toy gun, wallet, sandwich,
Orange.
a bulge in your pocket. Like it all continues to get mistaken. Gun is the first thing that's yelled out. So whether you have one or you don't have one, it does not change the result. Open carry, legally having one, openly saying, hey, I do have my legal firearm on me, and still getting shot in a car, like this happens, right? So I think the biggest problem is, especially in this particular case, but like in all cases that happen like this, was he looked like a suspect. It's always we look like someone they're looking for. Like this dude went to the dentist, got a sandwich, and was going home, but he looked like someone. So this prompted these chain of events. Like we always look like someone, and no matter what we have on us, what we have on us is dangerous. So I don't think it matters. At the end of the day, it's just dangerous walking around in this skin because you always look like someone who did something, even though you didn't do anything.
Just your thoughts as far as should we be running out to get licensed and in states where it's permittable, openly carrying as a people?
How long have we been doing this show, David?
Since May.
How many deaths have we talked about?
Too many.
So when I think of something that is my Second Amendment right to protect myself, and thinking that this young man was 23 years old, a son to a single mother of 10 kids. He came home because he was a truck driver. His mother gave birth to twins. And the only reason why he was home because he didn't want his mom to be by herself. And to go in a situation where he wanted to protect himself, and they're questioning the fact, like, well, he was too young to carry a license. Regardless of how young he was, he wanted to carry a concealed weapon. And it makes us more, I think, of a target than ever before, because now it's, oh, not only can they carry, but they're telling us that they're carrying, so I'm gonna feel threatened. And it's sad because I think I'm fatigued and I'm exhausted of talking about it, but I know we have to talk about it, because if we don't, it's gonna fall on deaf ears. And one thing that is so heartbreaking is that we hear the case, we hear the mom or the grandma or the auntie. In this case, the grandma was at home and the 5-year-old brother was at home. And so when you hear this, what's heartbreaking the most is that now this mother has to join the movement of mothers that have lost their sons due to police brutality. And I think that's the most, not only heartbreaking, but I think that's the most alarming fact. Like, there is a popular group that people are becoming a part of, and you don't want to be a part of that group, because the one thing that you have in common is the fact that your son or daughter is dead by the police.
Sorry, it's sad, but very well said. Craig, I don't know if we didn't get a chance to have this conversation as far as we typically talk. So I'm just curious as far as your thought of openly carrying. You used to do security, is that correct?
Yes, I did. I've been doing nightclub security since, I want to say, 16. I did it to spite my dad, because he's a pastor. So I was like, what is the one thing that I can do that can totally piss him off? I know I can work in nightclubs. So that was a horrible life decision that I had made. But I got to see a lot of things, and I carried a piece for, I think the last time I owned a gun was, I think I was like maybe 22 or 23 years old. And then after that, I got rid of it because I found too many occasions for where I had a chance to use it. And I haven't owned a weapon since. Honestly, we've learned to code switch, not for fun, but as a survival mechanism. And
I promise you, he was going somewhere amazing.
Yeah.
With that, and just we lost him. So, Dr. Dre, it's just something that we should be actively working towards, as far as a people openly carrying, being licensed to carry firearms.
It is our Second Amendment right, and we should be allowed to, without fear of situations escalating. But that's just not the reality that we live in. People think that different rules apply to Black people when in response to the Second Amendment, because all the people that are pro Second Amendment, where they were silent with the whole Kenneth Walker situation for Breonna Taylor. They were saying, oh, he didn't have the right to fire at people in his own home, which he thought was an intruder. But had that been someone not a person of color, they would have gone to bat for him. I always feel like the NRA is super quiet in these instances of people of color and gun related incidents. So I do think as JD mentioned, it's dangerous just being a person of color in general, but openly carrying makes it a little bit it ups the stakes. I saw a comment in our comment section saying that they'll run if you have a concealed carry or a license permit, they'll run your license, and that can lead to escalated situations before they even get out of their car to tell you what your infraction is. So I don't know. I feel like it's a slippery slope of gun ownership. The rules are not the same for us, and you have to tread lightly.
We saw that in Minneapolis with Philando Castile.
Yeah.
And and it continues to be a thing. Craig, I want to give you an opportunity to go ahead. And by the way, somebody asked, are those weapons behind you, Craig?
Oh, technically, those two little black clubs, that's a 15-pound and a 25-pound steel club. And then there's a practice sword, and there's that's my juju stick. Don't ask about the juju stick. That's for the weekends. But yeah, no, you can't hit anybody with those. I mean, if you swing it, you could probably cleave right through them. But that's for training. I just use those for my personal health and benefit. But as far as weapons for black people, and honestly, I will steal from Dave Chappelle, and it kills two birds with one stone. Where it's just like, I almost feel as if we're treated as loaded weapons already. It's almost like, oh, they're gonna be even more scared. It's like they're already scared. Like this guy had a Subway sandwich. Like how less threatening can you be? Like he's walking in, like the cop had to have heard children at the door. There's a house full of people, but it didn't seem to matter at all. And I just don't want to fight it anymore. I feel as if we should all just kind of, if we get weapons, if we arm ourselves as a people, it'll cause them, like, okay, they're gonna have to make some serious changes to gun laws. Maybe we can get some gun control once all the Negroes start having guns. Like, okay, now it's a problem. There's too many armed Negroes. They're clapping back.
Well, we saw that in California many years ago. So
yeah.
I will say that we'll keep updated on this story as more information does come out. It is sad that we have to talk about the loss of another Black individual to the hands of law enforcement of what is seemingly, like, early on, unjustly. The story is too consistent and just, as you said. I think that it's really sad that you have a group of people that are becoming a part of that club, and that's a club that nobody should ever have to become a part of. We're going to shift into our final topic of tonight, and Letitia Wright. So you probably know Letitia Wright from Black Panther. She plays Shuri. Hopefully, that if they do this right, she'll be the new Black Panther, and as long as they don't mess this up. It's Marvel, not DC. I trust them, but. She triggered a wave of criticism from fans and followers after she shared anti-vaccination propaganda. She posted a video on Twitter that makes unsubstantial claims about the coronavirus vaccine. People went pretty ham on letting her know how they feel. But they weren't the only ones. It's just fans. I do want to read, if I can find this. Now, did everybody see the video, by the way?
Mm-mm.
I didn't get a chance to see it because it was taken down. So there's the video that she posted by somebody from a place called the Christian Ministry. And basically there was also some transphobic remarks that were also in that I believe she's trying to say she was unaware of. But as a person who has a platform, if you're going to post something, I think you should be aware of what you're going to post. But I do want to say Don Cheadle did post and said, Jesus, just scrolled through hot garbage. Every time I stopped and listened, he and everything he said sounded like crazy and effed up. I would never defend anybody posting this, but I still won't throw her away over it. The rest I'll take off Twitter. Had no idea. Which basically he's saying that he's not going to throw her away completely for posting this, but he cannot defend her for posting such trash. So my question hold on. And he was a respected minister, by the way. Oh, sorry. He was a respected minister, by the way, but that didn't make it to my brain. All I saw was Okay, no, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the minister who posted that from the whatchamacallit. So I do want to ask you all, first and foremost, do you think she deleted her social media accounts and everything? Do you think that that Letitia has set herself up for failure, that she might be getting canceled here? Because we are in that world today where we're like, you gotta go. We're not gonna have it. And so I'm gonna ask you all first with Drea. Think she's in a little bit of trouble here?
So I was really disappointed because of how important she is to how important her platform is, and how important she is to the Black community because of the role that she portrayed. But then I had to step back and remember that these are actresses playing a role, and not oftentimes their ideology is not the same. They're just playing a role. I'm just really disappointed because this perpetual state of celebrities, posting misinformation about vaccinations, it just works my nerve because you have this whole anti-vax movement that just drives me crazy. I agree with Megan. I don't think she's going to get canceled. I don't agree with her getting canceled. It's okay to ask questions to get understanding of what's going in the vaccinations. However, don't post things that are blatantly false when there are peer-reviewed, journals that are published by researchers and scientists that have to go through this information, but nobody ever looks for that information. They look for Bob, on Facebook, who dropped out of high school, and he's now a subject matter expert on mRNA vaccinations. And I'm just like, so you're gonna believe this guy over someone who's a scientist their entire life, who does control blinded trials to make sure that this medical stuff is correct. But I also have to be conscious of the fact that a lot of bad things, medicine related, have happened to the Black community. So I understand the hesitancy. So we have the Tuskegee experiment for syphilis. We have, Henrietta Lacks, her stem cells being taken without her family's consent. We have, the gynecology experiments on Black slaves. Like, I understand we have a poor history of medicine related to the Black community, but I don't think she used her platform appropriately.
We're going to get back to the history, but first I still want to go around the horn to talk about with her, and I want to add a couple of things that she posted immediately after. She posted, "If you don't conform to popular opinions but ask questions and think for yourself, you get canceled." Laughing face with the tears. And then when she got seriously bombarded, there was a new tweet that she posted before taking everything down. It was, "My intention was not to hurt anyone. My only intention of posting the video was it raised my concerns with what the vaccine contains and what we are putting in our bodies, nothing else." So her tone changed after apparently a lot of the backlash that took place. Jess, we are in the world of cancel culture. Is she in danger of getting herself? And by the way, we say that stars are not too big to be taken out, but Johnny Depp was just removed from the Fantastic Beast series because of his, handlings with his, I don't know if they're ex or still current, Amber Heard. And there's a petition now to have her removed because apparently she has a lot to do with what's been happening in their relationship from Aquaman. So it is not so unheard of in today's society to take a gigantic movie star and remove them from a franchise. Do you think this is something that potentially could get her canceled?
I mean, depends on who called her, what her agent said, what was that financial burden that was going to take place if she did not tweet, her intention tweet. I mean, you think of what's on the line for her, especially if they do it right when it comes to Black Panther, if she's going to be the new Black Panther, and what other opportunities. I know that she was in why is this Black Mirror? She was in Black Mirror as well. So there's a lot of opportunities that she's had, and she's made a name for herself. But again, we cannot you hold the person accountable, but when we fall in love, to Dre's point, we fall in love with the character that they play. They could be a completely different person, i.e. Kevin Spade, when it comes down to House of Cards. So again, there are multiple things that people are going to mess up on. And if it's not a mess up, it's their perspective. I mean, they're trying to cancel the woman from Mandalorian as well because she's a Trump supporter. So there's a lot of different things, but I think the problem comes from we're going to cancel a lot of talent because of this one way of thinking, this one way of living, this one way of like, okay, they have to agree with X, Y, and Z in order for me to support them. So I'm conflicted with that because that's her opinion, which I boycott her because of that one opinion that she has.
Going away from the cancel culture, I want to ask the question to people on this panel because what she posted is triggered more conversation, and it's a conversation that I have heard, and I think you have all heard around this COVID-19 vaccine and the Black community and the willingness of the Black community to trust and take that vaccine. And Dre, I'm going to ask you last, as you are a medical professional. So like, I just want to go around the horn, and I'm really curious for the folks on this panel. And for those of you watching, please, by all means, answer this question as well. Will you take the vaccine? I'm just curious, once this vaccine is readily available, will you take the vaccine? And I am going to start with Fast King. Craig.
Absolutely not. I'm just kidding. I am totally going to take it. Are you out of your mind? I've done strange drugs in nightclubs all over South Florida. I've had people hand me pills. Bro, I'll be fine. I'll take the vaccine. It's totally fine. I think the problem is that we are so starved of any actual heroes that we allow the opinions of people who we see portraying heroes to carry a lot of weight. I mean, now I might lose some fans for this, not that I have any, but when Obama left office, he went on vacation. Like the country was on fire, but he was sending us pictures from Hawaii as he was jet skiing away from his problems. And we were like, hey, bro, I mean, like, I know you had a rough 8 years, but it's not good here, bro. Stuff's on fire, homie. And he was out. We don't have people. We're missing pillars of the community, and they're not being replaced. They die out, and we have these long processions for them, and then there's no one there to fill in the vacuum. So when these people who we see them portray a hero on screen, we look at them and we're so excited. We're like, these people are they're the ideal of what we want to be. But then we forget that that's just a persona. That's just good acting. Who they actually are is weird and strange and sometimes awful. And she irresponsibly used the power that she had garnered because there is a power vacuum for anybody who's responsible in the Black community. So okay. But I will be taking it because whatever. I want to hug people. I miss hugs. I didn't think I'd be missing hugs, but I miss it, yo. It sucks. I hate 2020.
Fast King, what I will say, this is for a different conversation. It wasn't just a rough 8 years. It was also probably a lonely 8 years because when he said change doesn't start with me, it starts with us. We left that man high and dry to fight for himself.
We 100% did.
And I 100% was okay with him going on vacation because quite frankly, as a ex-president, there was not much that he was going to be able to do to stop the nightmare scenario of what this current administration decided to put through. But that's a whole different conversation. You said yes, you'll take it, but that's because you have been an avid drug user. So
yes. Why not say it like that, man? Good Lord. Like, he's done heroin in back alleys. He'll be fine.
Just. So when this vaccine becomes available, which it's looking like it'll be sooner than later, will you take the vaccine?
No. I'm not an early adopter. I want to see, and having contracted COVID and being down for 6 weeks, like, yes, I should be first in line to take it. I should be first in line to take the flu shot. For me, I want to see it. I know there's a lot of push for it, but it is, and I might sound naive, but it is always, and not to disrespect the medical community, when it comes to vaccinations and what we are conditioned to think is the apocalypse. We are conditioned to think that that's how movies start. That's how a lot of different things start. And the fact that maybe because we have better technology, so we don't have to wait 2 years. Maybe it's because, it's a pandemic and everyone is trying to figure out, the rhyme or reason, like how to get this vaccination ready to go. But I do not want to be a part of the early adopters. And I don't even think I can be a part of the early adopters because it's not going to be given to us first. It's going to be given to, first responders and so on and so forth. So no, I'm not going to take it first. No.
Okay. Will.
Yeah, to Justin's point, like if you are not one of these individuals, right, then you won't be getting it that fast anyway. And so you're kind of going to be pushed into that middle bucket, or maybe some of that 30%, the first 30% or something along those lines, maybe second 30. This is what I'll say. Like I did get COVID. I was rocked pretty bad for 2 weeks. I don't want it again. And I'll get the vaccine. I'll go ahead and do that. I think my thing though, if I can kind of go back a little bit to just like this little bit of a previous topic though, is like, and I appreciate like what you said, Fast King, around like pillars of society. But I feel like one of the major things that needs to shift is that we need to stop looking to somebody to tell us or teach us or guide us. And I feel like what we really need to start doing is start teaching and creating and curating behaviors where people can be independent to go out and research information on their own, formulate educated decisions, and then make those decisions based on the unique aspects of their lives. Now, if I live somewhere off in the mountains of Colorado, you know what I'm saying, and I don't have to be exposed to a whole lot of people, then waiting for the last third or whatever to get the virus, or vaccine is totally okay. But if I'm going to be around people all the time, I might want to consider that, right? That type of a thing. And I feel like even in the space of, celebrities or whatnot, right? Like, I feel like there's a lot of people that trust me just because I'm one of those guys that like goes off and reads things all the time and then kind of shares it, right? But like when I look at my kids, I have an authority. I can tell my kids anything and they'll just believe me, right? There's a power that's there. And I have to take that power seriously. You know what I'm saying? Like I am doing the best that I can to say, hey kids, like this is what dad thinks, but can I tell you why I think this? I want you to look at this information. Here are some other things where people have like some opposing thoughts about this. Like what kind of things do you have? I know that takes a lot of time, but what I really want to do is I really want to teach my kids about how do I go out and find information on my own so that I can make my own independent and educated decision. And I think we're just having too much of this. The simple fact that we have so many conspiracy theories that are going on in this country right now, and that people who I once used to respect and love are getting caught up in these conspiracy theories, like this is really saddening me, right? But it's simply, even when I talk to these people, I just cannot get them to go out and read something and compare it to what they originally believed. We're sending out YouTube videos. We're sending out Facebook videos. We're sending out OAN news, guys, like OAN news, right? What is this? Are you serious, right? Like, but we're not going to sit down and read information. This is not that hard. It doesn't take that much time. It doesn't take that much energy. And if you have concerns around the vaccine, that's fine too. You want to take it, you don't want to take it, I can certainly respect that. But then I would even encourage you in that space. What research can you find on it? Can you find any information that might help you know, like how it was curated, what it was done, how much testing they did, what type of demographics did they test it on, and then make an educated decision from there.
JD, taking it? Yes, no.
I mean, eventually I will. I'm not going to take it right down when it first came out. Just because like there's already been reports of some, allergic reactions, which like that happens. But one, I'm not in the population that's going to get it anytime soon. I also understand that I work from home. I stay at home. I don't go anywhere. So I'm not in any like, huge risk or huge need to get it in me right now. So I'm not an anti-vaxxer by no way, shape, or form. I got my flu shot in September. But it's one of those things where it's new and you just kind of have to, I'm kind of in a wait and see mode. I mean, and it's nothing about the vaccine. It has all to do with video game consoles. I bought an Xbox One years ago and day one edition was rough. So I'm just keeping it real.
I need to amend my earlier statement. I'm so sorry, Dre, real fast. I'm not getting the first round. I always wait for the patch afterward. I'm a technician. We never get the first software round. So, all right.
Yeah, I'm not getting
Dr. Dre.
Dr. Dre.
What's out there? You never do it.
I was going to mention that a lot of people are like, nah, I've been burned before by the red ring of death. I'm not getting the first round. So
Hurt me.
I understand that mindset. My philosophy is this, I'm a healthcare worker. I'm also in the military. So I'm going to get the vaccine. I don't have a choice. They say it's not going to be mandatory. It's going to be mandatory. So having just got over COVID myself, it's not fun. I don't wish that on anyone. I felt like a little old lady going up my steps because I was winded and having chest pains and all of the badness. And now that we have something that can potentially prevent people from experiencing that, and we still don't know the long-term effects of what COVID does to our body. This has just been 1 year. Like, we could find out 5 years from now that it causes you to grow an extra toe. We still don't know. So the way that we can prevent this is by getting vaccinated. And if you choose to get vaccinated, if you don't, that's entirely your decision. But I do hope that you'll still practice, the social distancing, the mask wearing while we're still trying to get this under control, because you're not going to get the vaccine and you're not going to do the steps to help prevent it. You're not helping at all, and you're just continuing to propagate this virus. So don't get the vaccine, get the vaccine. That's entirely your decision. I will say, a lot of people are concerned about, how quick the vaccine was made, and they're wondering if people cut corners. The only corners that were cut is that red tape was removed from getting this stuff done. That meant that they started working on this vaccination way back in January when it first started affecting China. So, China shared the genetic code, for COVID, and researchers got on the ball, and they removed the red tape is where they were bringing it to the FDA and all of those governing bodies sooner than, having to wait till after their phase 1 trials. So, that's the red tape that was removed. They didn't remove any safety protocols. They still did their testing. They still had their N number for, sample size and populations. It was controlled studies, double-blinded studies. Like, all of the proper protocols were still followed. It was just that they had more funding and they removed the restrictions. So I think, like I said, get the vaccine. You don't get the vaccine, still practice your social distancing, still wear your mask, and hopefully by the end of next year we'll completely have eradicated this virus.
Dre, one, thank you for that. I do want to address something that Megan did say, and I want to ask this as the panel. Is it a little hard to believe in this vaccine because it's coming out or being pushed out at a time during the Trump administration? Do you feel like that gives you a I'm not really quite sure about that because this is coming from that particular administration? Dre, this question is not for you. This is for the rest of the folks on the panel.
I mean, not so much. I mean, I don't trust that motherfucker. But I don't think that's but that's not my reason, my sole reasoning behind it. It's how can you say it and then not put that phrase with it? It's more around like, I would tell you, Dr. Dre, I feel better about it as you explained it, but I'm still going to wait because, again, I am in no rush to have it. I wear my mask, I social distance, I mostly stay home. Like, I'm cool with hunkering down. So I think, there is a population of people that need it more than that are at more risk than I am. And once, they go through and all that stuff gets, kind of, looked through, then just kind of like a flu shot, I will more than likely do it. Just
you feel like because of the timing and the administration that happens to be in position while this is all happening, is that weigh in on your feelings towards the potential of taking this vaccine?
No, I think for me and my household, we have been very equipped with doing extensive research. I think where it comes from is the research because of the timeline. outside of the administration, outside of all the chaos, it's what's going to be best for this couple. What's going to be best for us, and I think it's the waiting portion of it. Yes, I want to go see my Grammy and Papa. Yes, I want to go see my parents. At the same time, we have to be mindful of what this will do, and we don't know. We just don't know, and I don't want to play my odds that way with I don't know.
So I want to read something from Fossey addressed specific concerns around the speed. So he said that he generally has two major concerns about the vaccines: the speed at which they were developed and their safety and efficiency. Though vaccines have traditionally taken years or even decades to develop, advancements in vaccine platform technology has significantly shortened that process without compromising safety or scientific integrity, says Fossey. Fossey tends to typically be somebody that we trust as a scientist, as a person, as a medical professional who went to school for many years, and this is what he does. He also addressed concerns that pharmaceutical companies of the federal government couldn't be trusted to assess the safety of the vaccine, saying that they are both advised by independent communities made up of experienced scientists, ethicists. Those independent experts, not politicians, determine whether the vaccine is safe for the public. What's also interesting is that for, what is the company? Actually, we have it up here. So there's an article, you could look it up. So Moderna's, they have to also have the vaccine that is in trial. And what's amazing as we talk about, what's going to end up happening, it's absolutely remarkable. No one who got the vaccine in the trial developed severe COVID-19, never got any of the severe symptoms, which is absolutely awesome. What I also find interesting is that there is a Black coalition. By the way, that statement comes from sciencemag.org. So those are the smart people, the scientists. There's also a Black coalition against COVID. I didn't know this. I don't know, I sent it all to you, but I don't know if you knew about that beforehand. I just want to tell you the Black Coalition Against COVID-19 is comprised of the president of Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science, the president of the National Black Nurses Association, the president of Howard University, the president of Meharry Medical College, the president of the National Medical Association, the president of Morehouse School of Medicine, the president of the Cobb Institute, and the founding member of the Black Coalition Against COVID-19, Dr. Reed Tuckson. These are all individuals that have claimed, because they wrote a letter to Black America, that they have been in the conversations, they've been a part of the trials, they have been in all of this, and they're telling us that because of the way COVID kills Blacks, Latinx, and Native Americans faster than it does everyone else, we need to trust in the science and the professionals and take this because it is killing us off. So my question is when I hear conversations about the Republicans typically who don't believe in the science as it relates to global warming, and we call them idiots because they don't listen to the smart professionals who went to schools for a very long time. Are we acting any different when we say we won't take a vaccine when all the very smart people tell us that it's safe and that we should? I'm just curious, what's the difference?
I never said I wasn't taking the vaccine. I just said I wasn't taking it right now and kind of laid out the fact that there are people that need it more than I do, as I get to work from home and I ain't out there in them streets. There's more people that are significantly more risky.
Take the fact that, let's just say, take that off the board. It's readily available for any and everybody who wants it, like a flu shot. You don't have to wait. It's ready available for you to take it now. Are you still waiting?
At that time, I'll take it. But guess what? It is not relatively available. It is very far behind. And the administration forgot to pre-order enough from Pfizer, and they won't get that till August.
That's like not having enough TVs on laptops for Black Friday. Like, what?
Can you put the source of where you have that documented in the chat? I just, because I haven't seen that. That's the only reason why I asked. So Will, I'm going to go to you next for the question. As far as the smart people, the people who are, the doctors, the scientists, they went to school for a very long time. They've been in the room. They've been a part of this. They actually look like us. They're telling us we need to take this. If it's readily available, not having to wait, would you step up and say, yes, I'll take it?
I mean, I already shared with you that I would get the vaccine anyway, right? And so, yes, I would do that. But what I also think is a good thing to do, though, to Jess's point, is say, that's cool. I'm glad that you're a part of these things. I'm glad that you have this expertise. Send me a summary of your work, right? Like, how many test patients, these types of things. And I think it's very fair to take an hour, maybe even 2, to just look over that information. Like Jess is talking about doing her homework. And I can't stress this enough about how just doing the simple thing of reading stuff could be exceptionally valuable for us. And I'm more than confident that these professionals would have something out there that's accessible, available, some type of stat sheet or, I don't know, a white paper around, something you could download and read to gain some of this information. Like when we talk about like what Dr. Dre is saying over here, that they did all these same things, right? Like, well, I don't know how many people have to be tested within a certain phase. If they were able to do that faster because, you know what I mean? Like, because like, there was no red tape and those types of things, and just let me read it, right? Like, I'll just read it. And if I read it here that we still got to do the same testing amount of people, we still got to test all the demographics and certain things like that, right? And I got to see when they did these types of tests and what were the outcomes, then that would only increase my confidence. I just think we should be educated on it.
If you go to the Black Coalition Against COVID.org, click on vaccines, and it has a statement from your doctors on vaccines, vaccine clinical trial town hall part 1 and part 2, open community letter on vaccines. And this is all from, again, the people. And I hear you. Like, I'm not mad at you for wanting to get that information, Will. I'm not. I believe that even if I got that information, wouldn't know what the hell I'm looking at, because
Can I just connect real quick? There's 99. If you really want it, it's there. There's a 99-page document that has been released with all of the study that has been done for the Pfizer vaccine, and it breaks it down into why it's safe, what they did, all of the things that you're asking for. I can try and give you a Cliff Notes version, but if you would like to read the information for yourself, I'll find the title of it and send it to you.
When was the last time you looked on the ingredients on a package of junk food that you bought yesterday? No, I don't care. No, give me the shots. Give me the science, bro. I'm trying to have some fun. I want to go back to the movies. This sucks. Take your science drugs. Put the science in your body, and then go do things. All right? We'll get superpowers, guys. I have to go. I love all of you very, very much.
And Craig, I think that you should be the spokesperson now for every vaccine. Put the science in your body.
Put the science in your body. Listen, you want to get back to normal? This is how you do it. I'll see you guys later.
Jason, I have no problem answering the question. The answer to that question is yes, absolutely. The moment is available. I will be there not early on, whenever they allow me to get it. I'm going to get it. I've seen, based off of my friends that have had it and the experience that they've had, I've seen people lose their lives because of it. And if the smart, very educated people who went to school for a very long time are being extraordinarily transparent in the way in which they are, to your point, Will, they're trying their best to put the information out there so that they can get the trust of the people, then I have no problem listening to the very smart, intelligent scientists. I feel like I have to live my life that way. If I'm going to look at people who don't believe in the scientists and climate change and think they're crazy because they're not listening to the smart people who went to school for it, I cannot act in that same manner and not listen to the smart people who went to school for it, especially in a day and age where information is readily available and currently they're doing everything that they can to be as transparent as possible because they know how much of a crisis this is. And I think the last statistic that I heard was that 42% of Americans said that they would take the vaccine. And that's sad. But I think that's because we don't believe into the conversation earlier. We don't look for the very smart science people. We look for Letitia Wright to tell us, is this something that we should do or not do? And that is an absolute problem.
Can I say something real quick, though? Because you brought this up earlier, right? And okay. I feel like I get this all the time. And I get a lot of people that it's like the second I advise them on something like go do your research, the very first thing that I get is like, well, I don't understand what some of those things mean. You know what I mean? And I remember when I was first starting to do my research, even talking with you, right? You know, you and I had many conversations about, you know, a lot of these like race dynamics that are out there and sociology and stuff like that. Social dominance orientation, that's what it was. And the first time that I read an article that said anti-egalitarian behavior, I was like, I don't know what that means, right? Like I didn't know what egalitarian meant until like 2 months ago. But when I came across the word, I Googled it in the dictionary and I found out what the word means. You know what I'm saying? So like, just because you came across something and you don't know what it is, try to figure it out. Like you can overcome these challenges and roadblocks. And if you are just really hitting a wall and you can't overcome these challenges and roadblocks, again, in some of these pieces of information, they'll have contact information. You can email somebody. You can maybe call a phone number or a hotline to try to figure out what it is that's going on. But if you're just going to sit here and say, well, I tried to read the document, I came across a big word or a smart word, which is kind of the things that I hear, and I just didn't know what to do. It didn't make any sense, so I gave up. Then that's your own problem. You can't help yourself then. You know what I'm saying? So why should anybody else be helping you? Why should you be just kind of taking information from anybody else? Research.
Our conversation on that was wanting to have people research on behavior and why people are driving towards social injustices, racist behaviors, and things of that nature. I think that conversation might have words that we can look up and understand, but I'm not going to understand the biology aspect or the chemical aspect or the chemistry aspect that goes into that, even if I look it up. And what I'm saying is because we have a lack of trust of our very smart people. And usually what you will find is non-Republican, we say, you got to listen to the scientists. They're telling us that this is wrong. We have to listen to the scientists because they know that's what they went to school for. That's what they study. That's who they are. We're supposed to trust them because they put that much effort into getting into that space to deserve that trust. What's baffling to me is that the same people who will knock the other side about not listening to the smart people will do the same exact thing that they're doing when it comes to this vaccine and not trusting the very smart people, not trusting the science. So that to me is where the issue is. I don't mind anybody who wants to do that digging of research. I say, by all means, if you go to that link that Dr. Dre posted, and we appreciate you for it, and you want to read the 53 pages of data from the FDA about the vaccines, and you want to Google like the metabolic chemistry that takes place and why it's going to, and I'm making up words, by the way, and why it's going to combat this, like whatever COVID eats inside of people, you know, really then
just ask. If you read that data and you have questions, just ask me and I'll explain it to you in layman terms of what is going on. Essentially, you're getting introduced to a dead virus. Your body makes memory cells to protect against that virus. You don't get COVID. That's it.
That's all I need to hear. Right there, and I trust her. You know why I trust her? You see that D and that R next to her name? It ain't because she's a rapper. That's a very intelligent, smart, educated woman who this is her field. And when she tells me that, I'm supposed to trust her. And when we say we can't trust because they don't look like us, there's a whole group of people that even look like us. One of the head scientists for what's the name of the company? Moderna, who also has, it's Pfizer and Moderna that have it. But the head scientist is an African-American woman. And you know, they're telling us they're in the rooms that they're a part of this entire process. We're not excluded from it. So like that to me is where I'm like, hey, that's my issue. Now we do have a special call-in individual who would like to make a statement about the conversation that we're having before we get out of here. And this is the first for us. So I'm really excited because Just's mom is going to weigh in. Hi, how you doing?
Hi.
And you would like to weigh in on this conversation?
Sure. I didn't hear it from I can only state my personal opinion. Right now, today, I would not be in line to get the vaccine. I'd like to see it process through people and all of that. I know the clients out there. I want to help get those physicians looking for our best interest. I am so happy about that. Just for me personally, I can cycle through people first, and then I'll be in line for it. I definitely want to. I've experienced it myself. Vaccine is an amazing thing that they have been able to do in a short amount of time. Something that sounds like it's working and we hope it works. That's just my personal opinion. Today, no, I would not do it. I need to cycle through it early. Let's cycle through people, see how things go, and then I would probably get the vaccine.
Thank you, Mommy.
Thank you, Mommy. Jess, could you get a brief, because there was a lot of echo. Huh?
What?
It was
Echo?
yes. So just a brief, like.
So basically, she said that she wanted to cycle through people and making sure that once she's able to see it, then she'll be ready and able to do it. She loves the fact that doctors are able to work on it. She's trusting the medical professions and knowing that in this short amount of time, they were able to come up with a vaccine. She contracted it herself as well. So she wants to be the first in line when it's ready and available, but she wants to see it cycle through people. Did I get that right, Mom? Okay.
Yeah.
So lots of people, I saw a really great graphic that showed where you are in the vaccine line. So you had healthcare professionals, nursing homes, immunocompromised, essential workers, all of that were in the beginning of the line. And then like way at the bottom were like people staying at home. So there will be a lot of people that will be getting this vaccine before, I would say, the general population will be getting it. So you'll be seeing, reactions out of people are having. Like people today in the UK were having the allergic reactions to it. The first 6 weeks is when you'll see that those potential side effects, and after that point, there's not going to be a lot of side effects potentially. So there'll be a lot of people getting this vaccine. You'll see a lot of data coming in. So just, keep your eyes open, pay attention to what's going on, go to reliable sources. Facebook is not always the best place to get your information.
And that's on this show. On this show, it is the best place to get your information. Everywhere else.
Well, she said Facebook, not Facebook Live. So
yes. So just be cautious. Like if it's coming from like QAnon supporters, probably don't listen to that. But if it's coming from reputable sources, take a look.
What's really happening is that David is just making fun of me because he knows how much reading about random crap that I do. And then what's going to happen is some point in time, mid next week, we're going to end up in like an hour-long phone call when I'm like spitting all these things like, I learned this and I learned that. That's cool. I still love you, man. I still love you. I already downloaded the PDF, though. It's sitting in my folder waiting to go.
Listen, I absolutely love y'all. We've gone over, so we're gonna go ahead and call it for a night. I do want to say on this day 2 years ago, we talked about this story before on the show of a man, a combat veteran named Gregory Edwards that lived here in the county in which I reside, Brevard County. And he was arrested 2 years ago today. And while in custody, he was beaten, tased, maced, spit bag, tied to a chair, and left until he became unresponsive and then pronounced dead the next day. And I do want to state that they have released that video. If you want to see anything that actually happened, you can see it for yourself. It's truly, genuinely, horrifically sad to see human beings treated the way in which we consistently find ourselves being treated by the hands of law enforcement. And so I ask, to say a prayer, do a thought, or whatever you can for the family of Gregory Edwards. He is survived by his wife, Holly Edwards, and one of their children. My heart goes out to them. And here they have some I think, a candlelight visual tonight that's taking place, and also in front of the prison in which this took place. And then tomorrow they're going to have it one at the hospital in which he was pronounced dead. So I will say that in the up and coming weeks, there have been some updates for the case since the video was released. I know that the West Melbourne PD and the Brevard County Sheriff's Department, from an article I saw today, are both now being sued. And so we'll see where that goes. I know Benjamin Crump is representing the family of Gregory Edwards, his wife Holly Edwards. And then we'll also be updating you on the shooting that took place here with the two teenage boys that we talked about on the last show. And we will also be updating as more information comes out about Casey Goodson as well. Hopefully, when we have these updates, it'll be an amazing day when these will be the last updates that we ever have to have about situations like these. I will say this, in a really positive and a good news, something that took place today. The new mayor of Melbourne was able to expedite a resolution that pushed through for the city of Melbourne City Council, to where all police officers will now be in body cameras. They approved the funding for it. And to me, it showcased something that if it's really something that they're interested in doing, it'll happen immediately, because that man has been mayor, I think, for a week. And so, you know, kudos to Mayor Alfrey. I'm extraordinarily happy to see that this is something that is pushing through. Hopefully we can see this happen with all law enforcement across the country, because it holds both sides accountable. And that's what we need. We need to be able to see the entirety of scenarios when they take place, so that we can recognize and reward officers when they do the right thing, and we can hold accountable when they do the wrong thing. So I want to thank everybody in the chat for participating and joining us. I want to thank everybody on the panel for taking place and being a part of the We Are Not OK show. We are still determining if we're going to come back in 2 weeks or not, because that is the week of Christmas. I think it's like the 23rd. And then if not, we'll probably just come on the first week in January. So we will keep everybody posted. Thank you again for joining, and we'll see you guys next time. Please make sure you like it and you share it and you tell people to watch it. And have a good night. Good night, Mr. Pillsbury. Good night, Becky. Good night, Megan. Good night, Janet. Good night, everybody else that's watching. And peace.